Welcome to the WRAL Daily Download. I'm Grace Holland. Impacts continue from flooding in some central North Carolina counties. In Hillsborough, people are being asked to conserve their water with the town's water treatment plant down. WRAL's Flynn Snyder spent the day there on Wednesday covering those water woes and joins us now. Flynn, thank you for being here.
Good to be here.
So what is the status of that water treatment plant as we're talking on Wednesday afternoon?
Well, the water treatment plant in Hillsborough remains offline as of Wednesday afternoon. There was a boil water notice that was lifted on Wednesday to the relief of many residents, but many here are still being asked to conserve water. The town says at this point that they are maintaining their water supply through a connection with the city of Durham, and they're warning that any drastic increase of water use at this point could threaten not only water pressure, but also the supply in the system as a whole.
Okay. Good to know that they're, kind of able to pull some of that water from Durham, which I'm sure is a bigger system. But how did we get in this situation in the first place? What was the effect that the floods had on the water supply for the town?
Well, the town says that the system, both the water and wastewater treatment centers, were inundated and overwhelmed by the several inches of rain they received in a short amount of time over the weekend. The town itself described the sanitary sewer system here as old, and they said that there were sanitary sewer overflows in about 5 locations that resulted in hundreds of thousands of gallons in diluted but untreated wastewater to be spilled into nearby waterways, including the Eno River, Cates Creek, and that threatens the drinking supply.
Right, and of course that's why they initially had that boil water advisory, which again, good news, has been lifted at this point. Who is still affected by the situation with conserving the water, and how are the people you talk to dealing with it?
Yeah, I mean, the people that I talked to have described the past 3 days as very long, and they've had to conserve water, many relying on water bottle distribution sites to really get by and make sure that they have a thorough and clean supply of drinking water. Others boiling water as well. Obviously, bottled water is a little bit more of a quicker route to get clean water under these circumstances. The Orange County Emergency Services has held several distribution events over the past couple days, as have many local businesses and clubs. They've also stepped up to help those in need of a steady supply of clean drinking water at this point. However, the threat of storms on Wednesday afternoon did force officials to cancel a distribution event that was set for 4 o'clock. So even though they are trying to help distribute as much water as they can, the weather still having an impact on those efforts at this point.
Okay, let's take a quick break right there, and we'll be right back. So, Flynn, before the break, you were breaking down sort of the situation with the water treatment there, or water treatment plant, I should say, there in Hillsborough, and how they're relying a little bit on help from Durham. What's the plan long term to fix the issues?
Yeah, we asked the city about this today. We were pressing them on, the timeline to fixing this, because that's really when things will get back to normal here. And until then, people are still being advised to conserve water, take shorter showers, don't, water the lawn, anything unnecessary like that. The city Wednesday said that the main clear well at the water treatment plant has been sanitized and refilling has been gone. And then once that's partially filled, the water will need to sit there for about 24 hours. And then bacteria testing will take another 24 hours. So the water plant has to go through quality testing and meet regulatory standards before it can treat and distribute water again.
Okay. So if my math is right, it sounds like at the earliest it could be ready within the next 2 days or so. But I would imagine if one of those tests has failed, it could be longer than that, right?
Yeah, exactly. And, residents, that's the question that I heard from a lot of people I spoke to today is, when is the main treatment plant going to come back online? Some described the system here as antiquated. Certainly, the town described the sanitary sewer system as old. So they're just asking people for patience and warning that this could take some time before things get back to normal.
Okay. And As we, see where this is going to go and how long it's going to take to get fixed, have there been any other towns or cities that have seen similar issues this week after the flooding?
Yes, in nearby Mebane, which is about 15 minutes from Hillsborough, the city there has implemented mandatory restrictions on water use effective immediately on Wednesday. They've implemented a stage 5 of their water plan, which is the highest level of that plan, while their water treatment plant there remains under repair. The city of Mebane says that they have, as of Wednesday, less than 2 days of drinking water supply remaining at current usage levels. And under those restrictions, all businesses, offices, and non-residential operations have to close or stop operations unless they're either a grocery store, healthcare facility, or a pharmacy or drugstore. So certainly a very dire situation there, with the city of Mebane saying they only have about 2 days of drinking water supply left at this point. So the impacts from this are, not just in Hillsborough, but throughout central North Carolina.
Right. Yeah. And, that is substantial, the issues that they're having there in Mebane, it sounds like. In Hillsborough, are town officials concerned about the rain that we are expecting Wednesday night? Could that set them back?
Absolutely. In their update that they sent out, the town of Hillsborough actually urged residents to be prepared for the possibility of more evening storms on Wednesday. They say that there's the possibility for several inches of rain, and they're reminding people to remain out of flooded area and closed areas, which there are a few of those still remaining here as repairs are still underway on some pipes and sidewalks here in the town of Hillsborough. So certainly, town officials are taking precautions. They're urging people to avoid any low-lying areas prone to flooding. And of course, in the wake of the impacts that we saw over the weekend here in Hillsborough, the threat of storms and the impacts that they can bring are certainly top of mind for a lot of residents here.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much, Flynn. We appreciate you staying on top of this. And thank you for listening to the WRAL Daily Download and for making us part of your morning routine. Another great way to get WRAL news is the Morning Briefing newsletter. That's a daily email with Triangle news, events, and headlines to help you get ready for the day. Sign up at WRAL.com/newsletter.